Hello, everybody, and welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of sports. And today we have another special guest, my good buddy, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Luca Vitale. Luca, how are you doing today, bud?
Drew, I'm doing pretty well. How are you, my friend?
Dude, I'm doing great. It's awesome to have you here. And today we're going to be covering a sport that we've never covered here on the channel. And this is Luca's area of expertise. I know he loves this sport very, very dearly, and he's excited to talk about it. We're going to be covering the NHL. More specifically, we're doing a little mid-season outlook. Which teams have been the most surprising, which teams have been disappointing, and some players who have had some breakout seasons. So without further ado, Luca, you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's run the table.
All right. He already knows. So first, we're going to start off with the most surprising team. And my most surprising team this season is the New York Rangers. Now, last year, the Rangers, they missed the playoffs. They weren't really anything too special. But this year, they've come out on a tear. They're first in their division. They're second in the Eastern Conference with 48 points, 22-8-4. And they have playmakers, all-stars all over the place. Guys who are usually producing are producing. And guys, they're young guys who we've never really heard of. They're coming in strong, right? You got Chris Kreider, Artemi Panarin, two all-stars. Kreider leads in goals. Panarin leads the team in points. And then you got Adam Fox, who's a breakout candidate. We'll touch on him later. And Igor Shesterkin, who's filling in really great for the absence of King Hendrick when he went away and went to the Capitals for a year. Shesterkin has stepped up really, really well in his absence and is an all-star for the Metropolitan Division himself. I mean, this team has just emerged with playmakers all over the place, and they're young guys. Their last two first-round picks, Alexis Lafreniere and Capo Caco, that's just more depth to this team. So if they continue to hit their stride, I think they can be really, really good come the playoffs and make some noise in the Eastern Conference.
I'm going to disagree with that. And the reason I disagree with that is because the New York Rangers actually underwhelmed me last season. They were actually supposed to be a lot better. So to me, their success this season is not a surprise simply because the disposable of weapons that they have to them. Their goalie tandem, like you said, Igor Shesterkin and then Alexander Georgiev, they're supposed to be one of the best goalie tandems in the league. And so far they have shown that.
Yeah, well, neither one of them have disappointed in that at all.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you could talk both being in the Vezina candidate conversation, especially Igor Shesterkin. And like you said, you touched upon Alexis Lafreniere. You talked about Artemi Panarin. You can even add the addition of Barclay Goodrow. You could talk about Philip Hedl on the defensive side. But this team is not really a surprise to me because of the abundance of talent that they have at their disposal. Now, what I'm going to talk about for me personally is I have a favorite hockey movie, and that favorite hockey movie is The Mighty Ducks. And the Anaheim Ducks are the most surprising team for me this year. This is a team last year that was ranked 30th out of the 31st teams. Obviously, there's 32 now because of the Seattle Kraken, but there's only 31. There was only 31 last year. But when you talk about a team in the Anaheim Ducks, they are second right now in the Pacific Division as we speak. And I got to admit, I am very impressed with this team, 18-11-7 as we speak. Only 2 points behind the division leading Vegas Golden Knights. But for a team that is extremely, and I mean extremely young, you got dudes in Troy Terry. This dude, he's not a rookie. Many people believe he's a rookie. He is not. This is his fourth season in the league. He has just been underperforming the last couple of years, but this year he has broken out. He has shown the world why he is labeled as Scary Terry, because he deserves that nickname. This dude has gone on a tear, especially in the beginning of the season when he was leading the league in points and goals. Right now, he has 21 goals in the season, 13 assists for 34 points.
He's still third in the entire NHL in goals.
Yeah.
So even though Scary Terry isn't on the tear that he was at the beginning of the season, he has not slowed down at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about other dudes in Ryan Getzloff, who obviously he is the only member on that team right now that was actually there for their Stanley Cup, the franchise only Stanley Cup. And you could talk about how well he's been able to make his contributions in giving those new dudes in Trevor Zegras, Sonny Milano, Jamie Drysdale, that he's giving these Ducks, they're brimming with confidence. And that's what these Ducks, that's why they're doing such a great job. Getzloff isn't a scorer as he used to be, but he's getting those scoring opportunities for dudes like Scary Terry, dudes like Jamie Drysdale at the blue line. That's why he's so elite. And you talk about their ability to score goals. Last year, they were the worst team in scoring goals. This year, they're in the top 15, my friend. In fact, you look at their power play, they're in the top 5 in the league right now. Their power play is sizzling hot. I'm impressed with this team. I've never questioned the ability of their goaltending of John Gibson and Anthony Stolars. They've always done a great job. They've always been high caliber goaltenders. And this year they've shown it yet again. And Jamie Drysdale, you got Kevin Shattenkirk backing it up for the blue line. You got dudes like John Manson. But honestly, this team has been the most impressive, in my opinion.
You know, that's a really, really good pick. Considering, like, when I look at most impressive or most surprising, I look at the difference from last year to this year, and that's why I have the Rangers as my pick. Now that you say that, it makes a little bit more sense because of all the talent that the Rangers have. But the Anaheim Ducks is a team that have come out of absolutely nowhere. I mean, this is supposed to be a year where they're continuing to rebuild, but then you look, they're sitting pretty in the Western Conference, tied for the 3rd most points, and they're poised to make a playoff run now. I mean, you mentioned Troy Terry and Ryan Getzloff, Shattenkirk and Gibson. You got guys like Isaac Lundestrom, Cam Fowler that you haven't even mentioned.
Exactly.
I agree with you. This Anaheim Ducks team, that was going to be my next option for most surprising teams, and they're good. They're good now. So now on a different note, let's flip the script. Which teams have been the most disappointing this season? And for me, there's a clear favorite. It's the other New York team, the Islanders. For a team that made it as far as the Stanley Cup finals or semifinals, last year, and their ceiling, quite frankly, was Stanley Cup champions, for them to be last place in dead last in the Metropolitan Division is an absolute disappointment. You got guys like, you add Zdeno Chara, even though he's a veteran on the defensive side. You have multiple all-star caliber goalies in Ilya Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov. You have Anders Lee, Zach Parise, Matthew Barzal that are still doing their thing. I mean, there is talent there, but to see them with 26 points and dead last in their division, it makes me scratch my head. You know, like, they have been an absolute flop this year.
Yeah, Drew, you're absolutely correct here. If you were to tell me that one of the only teams to meaningfully challenge the Tampa Bay Lightning over the past 2 seasons, and the postseason especially, who have effectively challenged the Tampa Bay Lightning the last 2 seasons, and if you were to tell me that were the New York Islanders today, I would have thought you were crazy. This team stinks. Okay, they stink. I understand that their first 13 games of the season were on the road because of the new arena they built. Very nice arena, by the way. Check it out. But they have stunk. And the reason for that is because COVID issues have happened, injuries have happened, but that's every team. And I would say the big reason that they have stunk so bad is because of Matthew Barzell. He has not played good this year. His ability to emulate his previous levels of production, it's just not been great at all. His ability to create those scoring opportunities in dudes like Anders Lee on his team. We've already seen all this stuff that what he brings to the table, but he hasn't done it yet this year. And it kind of sort of puts his team on back hold. I mean, we know what this New York Islanders team could do on the defensive side of the puck. We know what Varlamov and Sorokin could do in the goal crease, but they have disappointed, unfortunately. But obviously, that's not going to be mine, but it's a great choice what you gave me there. I'm going to go with the Seattle Kraken. I understand that people might think that's a bad choice because they're an expansion team, in that they may think, oh, that's a good choice because they're not the Vegas Golden Knights. Well, people don't understand why they're a disappointment. Offensively, they were never going to be that great. Yes, they got Jordan Eberle. Yes, they got Yanni Gourde. Yes, they got Colin Blackwell. I get that. But defensively, in goaltending, that was supposed to be their strength coming into this season. The line of Vince Dunn and Adam Larson defensively has been a disaster. And that is what gets me, along with the goalie tandem of Philip Grubauer and Chris Drieger. Philip Grubauer was a finalist for Vezina last year. He has stunk this season. He has been probably the worst goalie probably in the league, besides like Arizona.
Well, it's not like nobody knows that they stink. Seattle Kraken management have come out and said, yeah, this defense, this goalie, like they stink. They need to turn it around. I mean, granted, props to them for continuing to have their back, but they are being brutally honest that this Kraken team is not very good. Now, of course, you hit on it. They're not going to be the Vegas Golden Knights. No expansion team is going to be the Vegas Golden Knights, because no expansion team just goes out and kicks everybody's ass just right away. That doesn't happen. You go through the usual expansion team woes of not being very good, a pretty subpar expansion draft. You know, you go through that rebuilding process. So the Vegas Golden Knights are kind of an anomaly. But I agree with you. With what the Kraken had at their disposal, they have really underperformed, and the strengths of their team have really been their Achilles heel thus far.
Yeah, I'm also going to read this to you. They currently boast a negative 25 goal differential, and have allowed a 3.57 goals against average a game, which is only behind or in front of, the Ottawa Senators and the Arizona Coyotes.
Yikes.
Those are two teams that have stunk for a very long time.
Yikes.
So when you look at the expansion draft, like I did back in July, I'm like, okay, this team's going to be very good goalie wise and defensively, but maybe not necessarily offensively. That's why they're a disaster this year.
Yeah, you pretty much hit it right on the head. So the next thing that we're going to get into are some breakout players. Which players have really stepped up for their team and burst onto the scene and become stars? And the guy that I'm going to mention first is a part of the reason why the Rangers have been so good. And that is defenseman Adam Fox. He is 23 years old in his third year. In 34 games played, he has 5 goals, 30 assists, 35 points, and a plus-minus differential of 8. And he's a Metropolitan Division All-Star this year. Granted, you get the goals number isn't that high, but 30 assists is nothing to sneeze at. And that just proves, like, especially for a defenseman, that just proves that he's done a really good job of setting up those other stars on the Rangers, Kreider, Panarin, like Gaudreau, Lafreniere, Kakko. Adam Fox has been feeding them, and he is a pretty big part of the Rangers' success. He is my breakout star this year.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that at all. In fact, if you look at Adam Fox and what he's done on the ice, ignore what he's done scoring-wise. I can compare him to Cal Makar of the Colorado Avalanche. What these two have done in the league, they have transformed in what it means to be a defender in the National Hockey League. If you take a look at that, I understand 2 seasons ago, he was the Norris Trophy winner. We understand that. And also, he didn't win the Calder Trophy his rookie season. He got robbed of that. I don't care what anyone says. But without his stats, this is a dude that is phenomenal defensively. His ability to intercept passes, his ability to get in front of the shot and block it with his body. He is also, like you said, one of the highest scoring defensemen in the league. And for that reason, he's basically, I'll use a football reference here, the quarterback of the Rangers power play, which wouldn't get much done without him, in my opinion. He's just one of the team's most important players, also on the penalty kill, which is why the Rangers are pretty good on special teams.
Yeah, Adam Fox has been absolutely awesome. And you bring up a really good point about his defensive impact, because that's something that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. When you look at hockey players, you look at, how many points do they have? What's their plus minus? How many goals and assists do they have? What really goes unnoticed, unless you take a deeper dive into these games and into these players, is their impact in their ability to take away the puck and block shots, like you mentioned. So Adam Fox has been really instrumental in the Rangers' success. But Luca, who do you have as a breakout player this year?
People probably have not been watching this player because the Detroit Red Wings have been a disaster with their taxing rebuild, but they are 16-5-3 right now. A very surprising record, what they've brought to us to see, really, with the Little Caesars Arena. I think they've done a really good job, but it's going to be Lucas Raymond. This dude has been something special. We can all point to Martez Cider, excuse me. We can all point to him, how great he's been defensively and how Detroit is very thin at high caliber defensemen. We can all point to that. That's fine. But Lucas Raymond is something special. This dude basically slid into the top line with Dylan Larkin and Tyler Bertuzzi at the beginning of the season because Anthony Mantha left free agency. And Jacob Verana, who was supposed to be that number one center, or excuse me, winger for them at the beginning of the season, he was out because of soldier surgery. So because of that, Lucas Raymond was basically the only option they had. And boy, did this guy not disappoint, okay? Consistently makes all the right decisions on both ends of the ice. Blackhawks fans, he had a hat trick against us in the beginning of the season. He made it look phenomenal. He's done everything correct. He produces offensively. He has made a name for himself among Red Wings fans. He may not have the most attractive stat line in terms of plus and minus, but I don't look at really plus and minus in terms of judging a player. I look at his tangibles and what he brings to the game, and then his intangibles. That's what I look at. He's a great skater with elite straight line speed, his ability to blow past opposition on the defensive side, and his creativity to basically develop the play for his teammates in Larkin and Bertuzzi. If you look at the stat lines, those guys all have double-digit goals and assists.
And Luca, here's something that you didn't mention.
What?
He's only 19 years old.
And he's 19 years old.
He's just a kid. He's only 19 years old, and he's impacting the Red Wings in so many different ways. And I completely agree with you. The plus minus stat isn't the prettiest. It's only 2. But what does the kid do on the ice that impacts the Red Wings in ways that not many players have? I mean, he was the 4th overall pick in 2020. And he has that top billing for a reason. He is slotted right into the Red Wings lines, and he has been absolutely instrumental for the Red Wings. And like you said, they've been an unmitigated disaster over their rebuild. They're right in the middle of the pack, and Lucas Raymond is a big reason why.
Yeah, I got to give credit to the Detroit Red Wings. As bad as they've been the last probably almost 10 years now. I mean, Pavel Datsyuk, Henrik Zetterberg, Darren Helm, those guys are long gone. I mean,
the golden age of the Detroit Red Wings is
Jimmy Howard. I mean, the days are over, but
the kids are coming. The kids are coming, led by Lucas Raymond.
Exactly. I mean, they got a promising future. I mean, it's going to be a couple more seasons, but it's promising.
Yeah. And before we wrap it up, I got one more guy that I want to go over because we need to show the goalies some love.
Okay.
Jack Campbell of the Toronto Maple Leafs has been absolutely phenomenal, been absolutely outstanding, whatever word you want to use in the crease for the Maple Leafs. He is atop almost every important goalie statistic in the National Hockey League. He's 1st in goals against average, 1st in save percentage, and 4th in wins. This guy has been an absolute block in the crease, and the all-star selection to the Atlantic Division, absolutely merited, absolutely well-deserving, and not mentioning him in a list of breakout players, I think, is an absolute snub. We got to give some love to Jack Campbell.
I'll give some love too to Frederick Anderson here too. The Carolina Hurricanes goaltender, he's having a career year. Also very responsible for Carolina's success. I mean, there's years where Sebastian Aho, Svechnikov, Trojic, Teuvo Teravainen. There's games where all those goal scorers disappear, and Frederick Anderson picks all the pieces up. Got to give some love to Frederick Anderson.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal as well with the goals against average. They're right behind Jack Campbell's. So you got to show some loves to these goalies that have been nothing but spectacular in the crease. But Luca, I think that's just about going to wrap it up. Thank you for coming on and talking hockey with me. I know you love to. So to give you a chance to spread your hockey expertise, it's been nothing short of a gift. But I know you have some stuff where the people can listen to. So where can we find you?
Yeah, KCOU 88.1 Around the Waves on every Friday at 10 a.m. If you want to tune in, that's on our Spotify, Around the Waves. Also, I write plenty of hockey pieces. Check that out also on KCOU.FM.
A very talented guy indeed. Luca, thank you so much for joining. And if you want to see more Running the Table content, we have NFL, college football. We have so much stuff coming for you. And if you want to see more, like and subscribe. And until next time, we out.